So let's go back to our GitHub repository and click on Data, and let's get this file survey scores 2015 underscore T. And we're going to, there'll be something similar from what we did, from the survey we did this year. But, so we see this file and click on raw, and then we're going to do save or save as, and then we want to save it to our our lessons folder, let's say. So let's do, under your home folder, which is this little home icon, hopefully it's on your sidebar, find SIO 209 and then lessons, and we can save it there. So if we go back to our terminal, we type ls, we should see that file there. And it saved it, added a .txt, which I don't want, so we're going to rename it. So type move sur, and then you can hit tab and it will autocomplete. So we're going to move that to something else, and we're going to type sur again. It'll autocomplete. We're going to delete the last 4 characters, so we're going to move, or in this case rename, this file that's got .csv.txt to just .csv. And if we type ls again, you'll see that it's been renamed. And we can view the file. We can just type cat survey scores 2015, and you'll see the content of this file. This is just a comma separated values file, and it will be useful for the next demo. So one thing we could do before we get to these new commands is we could do grep. So let's say we want to see all of the lines that match Windows. So we can type grep Windows survey, and it will just match those 3 lines that have the word Windows in them. But let's say we want to do something with this table, that we just want to pull out the third field, which would be the Mac or Windows field. We can use this cut command. So it's just called cut. The D option is the delimiter, so we're going to put that in quotes. It's going to be a comma. The delimiter is a comma. We're going to want field 3, so -F3, and it's important to make sure you have a space between each of these flags and then the value for that flag, or for that command, or that option rather. And then survey, and again you can use tab complete. And so this will print the third field from each of those lines. So in this case it's 1, 2, 3, it's computer OS. This first subject didn't list a computer, so that's blank. And then we have Mac, Windows, etc. If we wanted to get a range of values, we could do F3-4 would give us the third and the fourth field, or if we wanted from the third to the end, we can just leave the end blank but with the dash, and it will give us from the third to the end. So this is a very simple program to cut or to slice up a table in the terminal. We'll see other ways to do this using Python.
If we wanted to save this as a vector, let's say just the thing, we have to use the cat and then help to do this.
Yeah, if you wanted a, let's say you just wanted the value of the last, let's just say the, I wonder if this works actually. I'm trying to see if it supports. So let's just say we wanted the value of this field here. So there's a few things we do. So we want this score. This is score command. This is their self-rating about how experienced they were using the command line. Let's say we want to save this as a file that we want to do something with. There's a few things we can do. If we want to remove that score command, we could do tail -n plus 2. So what this does is it gives us the last few lines of the file, but by using this +2 notation, it actually will give us the whole file starting at line 2. So that's really useful. And then, yes, to answer your question, then we would direct the output. Right now it's printing to standard output, which is to the screen, but we can do this greater than symbol, this redirect to or write to a file, and then say scores dot txt or something. And then if we look at that file, it would just be the scores. So that's a simple way to get one column and put it into another file. We covered grep earlier. There's a couple other options that work with regular expressions. One is called sed, which is the stream editor. So if we, let's look at our survey again. And let's say we wanted to change the word Windows to PC in this whole file. We can do this command sed, their stream editor, and we're going to substitute Windows with PC. And if we want to make sure that if it occurs multiple times on a line, we do it each time, we use this lowercase g, which means global. And then we type the name of the file. So this is going to, and then this whole expression is in quotes. It could be single or double quotes. We're going to substitute Windows with PC every time it occurs in this file. So you can see now instead of Windows, it says PC. But we haven't actually changed the original file. All we're doing is printing the output to the standard output. So if we want to save that, we have to use this redirect again and say new survey CSV.
And if we wanted to just save over, we can put the same name back to address.
Yes, although no, because it's actually going through line by line. So if you redirect to the same file name, you can get unintended results. So what you would want to do is you're going to you can do to temp and then move temp to survey. Or
when you do that, you're renaming that, you're saving a new file named as new survey. But if you went back and looked at your original survey,
yeah,
it would still be the same, right? So it's kind of like save as, so you're not rewriting it.
right. You can do this. So you could do head, and then all the things that contain the word survey, because that would be both the old one and the new one. And you can see that, yeah, new survey has the word PC, but the old one still says Windows. There are some things you can do in place, but in general with Bash, it's better to not try to overwrite the file that you're working from in place, because you can get bad things happening. There are in Python, you'll see there's often an option to modify something in place, but in this case, it's typically a little more work. You have to like save it as some sort of temporary file and then like rename it back. But the nice thing is that it helps you from like deleting a file, because if you type your command wrong and you modify the original file, could be impossible to get it back without going back to whatever you did to generate in the first place, and that might not be easy. So it's pretty good practice to just to save it as an intermediate file or a temporary file and then rename it later once you're sure that it's what you want. Another option for doing something similar is Perl. I won't go through this, but if you're familiar with Perl, know that there's a really powerful command line interface for Perl that you can do multi-line commands within the command line, and it's pretty nice. But between grep and sed, you can do most of what you want. We've already covered really all of these except for this last one. So the pipe, remember, is how you pipe output from one command to another. So one that I use a lot is I will start. Logically, it makes sense for me to start with the output of a file, so you can just cat the file, say bar, and then you can grep there. Instead of typing grep the file name, you can do cat bar. Sorry, the names here are unfortunate because this is a bar and the file is also called bar. And is one of the most common words in the English language, but anyway. Yeah, so you can do it this way. The nice thing about this seems like kind of clunky, but the nice thing about this is that for me it's logical. You're saying, okay, I'm going to take this file, I'm going to print the output of this file and pass it to another function or another command, because oftentimes you will have many commands lined up after another. You're going to grep it, and then you could even do substitute the with the, and then you can, I want to count the number of lines in there, or I want to sort and sort alphabetically, and then count the number, or you can get the number of unique lines, which in this case is the same as the original, but there's a number of reasons you'd want to pipe the output of one to another. And I'm sorry I'm throwing you these new commands that I didn't cover, but sort and unique are really useful. Sort will sort either alphabetically or numerically, and unique will give the number of unique lines in a file, but only if they're sorted. So you typically will sort and then get the number of unique lines, because the way that it works is it finds two lines that are next to each other that are identical, and it removes one of them. So you only get the unique lines, but you have to sort first. This can be useful if any number of things, if you want to know the number of unique.
So you can use that to potentially get rid of spurious, repeated data, lumps or something.
Yeah, so let's do this. Let's go back to, okay, I'm going to do something I'm going to do before. Okay, I'm going to, this file that printed, let's do 1 through 5. And I can do, I'll just call this temp, because I'm just doing an example. So if I cat temp, now if I type that command again, but I append, I do that twice. Now if I look at this file, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if I do a word count on that, there's 15 lines. But let's say I only want the unique values. So I could do unique temp, but it doesn't work because I haven't sorted it yet. So first I will do, let's just cat temp, sort unique, and now it will give me the unique values. Or if I just type sort, it will give me the sorted file. And I don't even have to view the output. I can just do a word count, and it'll say, yeah, there's 5 unique. This is basically saying there are 5 unique lines in this file.
You went back into the
My history?
command and you looked before. How do I do that?
Yeah. So if you copied the .bash profile commands that I had in last lesson, if you didn't do that, this won't work. But there are other ways around it, but this way I found is easy. So you just type for or whatever the name of the command is that you're looking for, and then you type the up arrow, and it will only show you the commands that start with that. This is the there are ways to do this without modifying your .bash profile, but the thing that's doing that is this. So you want to make sure that is in your .bash profile, and then it should work, at least on the Mac, and using bash. For Z shell, it would be something different. Okay. This one here is a way to get the output of a command and use it in like a loop. I'm going to skip over that for today. And then we have these wildcards, which we've covered mostly already. So I want to, so we're starting to build up some files in here, so this is good. We can say I want to list everything that starts with an S. So this will give me these 2 files here that start with the letter S, and anything after that. So we also have this other option, which is a question mark, which will match only a single character. So I could do, this should work. I want all of the, well, one thing we can do is we can see all of the shell scripts that we have. So all the files that end in .sh. This is super useful if you want to say, okay, what are all the text files, or what are all the shell scripts, or what are all the CSV files? You can use this kind of syntax. You can also do, we can do LSA. I know that this isn't a very realistic example, but you can say, I know that the script has 5 characters, so I can do, I want all of the files that have 5 characters, or in this case, we know it ends in nt, so we could do ls.nt.sh, and it will give us those same things. Or let's list all the files that have only 3 characters. Or this is more common if you just want to like substitute a number, say, or a, yeah, question.
Does the pipe work with lists?
Yes.
So you could theoretically like move all those files to a different folder using the pipe command?
Yes, you can. You can also, you don't need to use pipe. You could just do, I want to just move to, I can move all of the shell scripts to, so it's not just a list thing. It's the wildcards work for anything, and yeah. There's also we can say I want all of the I'm just using list kind of as an example here. So we can do all of the files that begin with S or P. So this bracket notation is a set. So I want the set of S and P. I want all the files that begin with S or P. And we can also negate the set. So I want all the files that don't begin with S or P. And then we have this brace notation. So I think if we just type it raw, it will give us an error. But yeah, so we can say echo is a good way to see what the output is. So what echo does, remember, is it just prints the value of an expression. So in the loop we had before, we used this, say 1 through 5. So we need to type echo to see what that will do. It's giving us 1 through 5, and it expands it out as a range of numbers. So it knows that 1 and 5 are integers, and that you can get from 1 to 5 by incrementing up one at a time. And this will also work with letters. So this is super useful if you have files, say, numbered 1 to 10, and you want to do something with them. You can use this notation. And it even supports some more advanced things. So what we're doing here is we have this letter that's found, these letters on the ends that are found in all expansions, and then one at a time it's using these inner letters, and it gives us these different words. This is just to illustrate what you can do with this feature. Yeah, question?
Rather than just print like integer, can we just print out decimals?
If you want to print out, sorry? Oh, instead of integers? I don't believe so. I don't know how you would print out decimals. That's less commonly used because typically decimals are not used in like file names. So this would be like typically like to increment over a file name or something.
You just want to do some like math equations.
You wouldn't use this is these are expressions that are typically used to provide like an increment over a file name or something, like file A to Z or file 1 to 100. You wouldn't use this to do math. We'll do math with Python. Yeah. Questions on that?